welcome to Top of the Hops. I am your host, Mike Riker, and join me for the third time, and he is the first guest of season 2.
Oh God,
It's the great Dylan Bowen. Dylan, well, how's it going, buddy?
it is going great, and thank you for giving me the honor of being the first guest on the new season. It is
I,
quite the pressure. It's quite the pressure, but I
no
would try.
pressure. No pressure, I promise. You've done great. If you haven't seen Dylan before, please check him out. We did top 5 jumpsuits from Elvis, which I
Yep,
thought was a great episode. And then we kind of ventured off a little bit outside of Elvis and did top 5 Fleetwood Mac songs, which I thought was a great
we did.
episode. Yeah,
Yep,
which was fantastic. So please check those out. Today we're back to Elvis.
yep,
We are doing top 5 ETAs, Elvis tribute artists. We'll get into that in a few moments. But first, I want to talk to Dylan about his YouTube page. If you're
yeah.
not subscribed, please subscribe. It's called Dylan's World,
It
and
is.
he's got great episodes. I listened to the first 2; they're fantastic. They're called Mikey and El Toro's Rodeo
Yep.
With Brent Arnold from Elvis Nation. Dylan, tell us a little bit first about the name. How'd you come up with the name for the show?
Oh, oh, the rodeo. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So there's been this running gag between me and Brent for like 3 years because him and the fantastic Leon Smith, which by the way you should go and check out also.
Yes.
Uh, they did a video where they ranked the Fun in Acapulco soundtrack,
That's right. I remember.
and Brent had El Toro in like the top 4 or 5, I believe, and it was over like Bossing Over Baby
It
and like
was.
in like Mexico, and they're going, Brent, I love you, but you are absolutely nuts. Why would you put the song about the bull, and let me stress that heavily, the song about the bull above the hit single? And he goes, well, personal preference. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And ever since then, I've called him El Toro. So then, so then when we decided to do this, I was like, well, the perfect one is going to be the El Toro show. But then I was like, well, I'm going to be in it too, so I need to have a name. So I thought, what what was Elvis's name in front of Acapulco? So I googled it. Mikey. I'm like, okay.
Mike
Mikey
Lindgren.
and yeah, I'm like, all
Yeah.
right. Mikey and Toro Rodeo. Perfect. And the first 2 episodes came out, and thank you to everyone for the lovely response that we've had. It's been quite actually touching in a way because like I'm a small channel, right? I've got like 65 subs or something. So to have like 75 people that have watched it, like that's a big deal to me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
And
so
more
yeah,
people should watch it because the banter between you and Brent is fantastic. There's so much what's the word I'm looking for?
age
You got
jokes
yes,
mostly.
yeah, it's jokes, yes. But you guys have such a great banter. It's fun, it's silly, it's great. I just love the interaction between you two. And you had as a guest on both episodes, it's part 1 and part 2, of course, the great Rick Lowe from
We did.
Elvis A to Z, which is
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic interview. And it was funny what you said because even I said it when the first episode, it seemed like Brent, took most of the interview time, and then you came on the second part too. Like, all right, it's my turn to start interviewing
Yeah.
Rick, yeah, which was a lot of fun.
And well, well, because honestly, like this is all like in good jest, so like I didn't mean it when I said, "Oh, get off, it's my turn." It's all in good fun. It's
Yeah, of course, it is. It's a lot of fun. You guys, like I said, the banter between you two is great. Please check it out. It's called Mike and El Toro's Rodeo. It's on Dylan's World. Please check
yep.
out his YouTube page.
Please.
So yeah, please check that out. It's on Dylan's World on YouTube. Before we get to our top 5 topic today, I do want to get into my drink I'm doing. I know I saw you drinking a little water. Is that fruit flavored water that you usually drink?
Yeah. This is the Old Faithful. This is Touch Fruit Strawberry from Volvic. Good old
What
Volvic.
what flavor?
Strawberry.
Okay, strawberry. Yeah, I like flavored waters, but today I am doing a beer today. So this is from one of my favorite breweries in my area. It's called Barrier, and it's called Lomax. And this is a
Mm.
brewery out in Oceanside, Long Island. Great brewery if you're in the area. And this is one of their go-tos. I've had this beer a bunch of times. It's an IPA. It's American style IPA, and it's 5.2%, which is very light for an IPA. So I'm gonna do that. And before I do that, of course, I gotta show my Elvis glass, my
Nice.
Elvis beer glass that my
Very
wife
nice.
got me for Father's Day. So let's open this up, get a little sip going. Ooh, it's foaming a little bit. So let's be careful with the pour here. There we go. Now it's gonna be hard to see just because um the glass is not like a see-through glass, but just to give you a little what it should look like, it's a semi-cloudy yellow with a fluffy white head. It's like a little bit of a white head. You can see that a little bit there.
Mm.
Um, it smell the smell is nice. It's got like a citrus hop taste smell to it, with slight passion fruit note. And so like I said, I've had this before, and the taste is also very citrusy and almost got a biscuity flavor to it, which is nice. It's a real well balanced IPA. It's also, I know it's gonna sound weird, but it's nice. It's very subtle. It's got like a little peppery finish too, which I know people are like, oh, it's gonna be awful, but it's not. It actually adds to it. It's very light bodied, very easy drinking. Like I said, it's 5.2%. Good carbonation. And the bitterness is very light, but it's throughout. So Dylan, this is to you. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Like I said, if you guys are in the area, please, it's Barrier. They do some great beers, and this is one of their favorites. Okay, let's get to our top five. Today we're doing top five ETAs. If you're
Yeah.
not sure what ETAs are, they're Elvis tribute artists.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, I was not an Elvis impersonator fan. They are a difference. There is a difference between an
There is.
impersonator
Uh,
and a tribute artist. Yeah, explain that to the everybody.
okay. All right. So impersonator is kind of like what you'd see in like a Walmart or like the Vegas Chapel and whatever. Just doing
Right,
it for like a few cash. A tribute artist is someone who actually goes and studies the footage and
right,
listens to the soundboards to make sure that what they're doing is 100% how Elvis did it.
right.
Now that might sound obsessive, but think about it. If you're gonna want to see an Elvis tribute show, you're gonna want to see something nuts like Elvis. You're not gonna want to see like a cheap like imitation. You want
Right.
something that's gonna be good, and that's the thing as well. It's a very fine line between a tribute and an impression. You want to make
Yes.
sure that you're not getting into the impression thing because once you start doing that, it's gonna make it like you're taking the Michael out of Elvis. But you're not. It's just that like sometimes it just seems like you're going into the impression, and like for some people, like they can't help the way that they sound. So like if they're doing the voice and it sounds forced, it doesn't mean that they're doing it to make Elvis look bad. It's just that that's what they sound like that's their voice.
Right. Yeah,
And yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, you're right though. There is a fine line between an impersonator. Sometimes you don't want them to be a caricature of what
yeah,
Elvis was,
yeah,
so but these five, and I'm sure on your list too, these guys, and they don't think they're Elvis. They're just doing, just like, listen, you go out there and sometimes you'll see, we mentioned Fleetwood Mac. There's a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. There's Journey tribute bands. There's,
yeah. There's
all kinds
Beatles
of,
fans and
right,
Doors.
right, and they do a great job. And sometimes I think the Elvis artists get,
A
um
lot of flack, like a lot of
yeah,
flack.
get a lot more flack. Yes, exactly. But I think people
That's
are
the
coming.
media's fault. That's what
Yes,
I.
very much so. Good point. Yeah, I mean, listen, you see movies like Honeymoon in Vegas with the flying Elvises and stuff like that. So there is uh there's something, yeah, there's like a thing about it that doesn't sit well with a lot of Elvis fans, and I get it. Um
Me too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely get it. But there are guys out there who do a fantastic job,
there is.
who are just, they love the music, and you can tell they love the music, and they love the legacy of Elvis. They're not
Yeah,
trying to be Elvis. They're just trying to give you
an experience.
yeah, experience. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So and you yourself, on your channel, I've watched many times. You yourself are an
Yeah.
ETA.
Well. Okay, well, I'd say aspiring because I'm not
Yeah,
out there doing shows as of yet. But yeah, like I do it, and like I try my best to make sure that it's just like how Elvis did it. But obviously, because of like the physical situation, it's not always easy to do like a lot of the moves. So I have
right.
to adapt. But but like I've said this with Brent, I said the people that watch my shows, they are so against ETAs. But somehow, like when they watch me, it's like they enjoy it. So I'm like, I don't know whether it's because I'm not wearing like the jumpsuit or like
Hmm.
whether I'm not got black hair. Like I've been trying to figure this out for like the 3 4 years I've been doing it. Like, what is it about my shows that people seem to like, but somehow they kind of don't like the other ones? Like that would have been like a bit of a head scratcher for me because I'm like,
Yeah, I think you hit it on, Dylan, is the fact that these guys are trying to look like Elvis, like really
yeah,
trying to dress up like Elvis, and like, oh, these guys want to be Elvis and they're not Elvis, and I get that, but like you say, they're trying to put out an experience, especially for a lot of people who have never seen Elvis.
yeah,
So they want to give them that kind of experience where this was well, it could have been like,
to go,
um,
yeah,
yeah, to go see him. So and listen, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of ETAs out there, and I'll be honest with you, there are not many I like. So but there was five right away I knew. It's just the order itself was a little was hard for me to be honest
that
with you.
same,
Yeah, so but even there's a couple that's not in my top five who I like, and we can get to those as well.
yeah.
So yeah, so let's I guess my next question before we get to our top five is what makes a good ETA to you?
Oh God, hitting me with the good questions. What makes a good ET? This is a
So,
very good question.
can I tell you mine? I think they
Yeah,
should have
yeah,
three. I think they should have three components. One, they should look a little like him.
yeah.
I don't want someone out there
When
that's
possible, of course.
yeah, yeah, as much as you can. Listen,
Yeah.
this some of these guys, that when they take the makeup off and they take the hair,
Here we
like
go.
they look nothing like they look nothing
Yeah.
like him. But I want to at least give an impression of okay, this looks a little like Elvis.
Mm,
The second obviously is to sound like Elvis.
yeah.
You don't want someone that looks like Elvis, and all of a sudden it comes out and it sounds awful.
Yeah.
And I think the third one is just the aura of Elvis, kind of
Yeah.
like, the way he
Like the stage
walked, the
kind of thing.
stage presence. Exactly. Yeah, that's the perfect one, Dylan. Yeah, the stage presence.
Mm.
So that would be my three components of what an ETA should be. Is there anything else you could add to that?
My three. Well, first of all, you've got to love the music, first of all,
Yes.
because there's no point going out there doing music that you don't like.
Right.
And like that's not just Elvis, that's any tribute that you're doing. Like whether it be Beatles, Queen, Fleetwood Mac, whatever. If you if you are to find the music, then it's gonna be much more enjoyable for you and the crowd.
Of
Because
course.
then
Yeah.
because then the crowd are gonna say, oh, like this guy is actually, enjoying what he's doing. So let's kind of give him a chance.
Right. Yeah.
The
Uh,
second one, the vocals is a big, big one because you've gotta okay, because listen, no one's gonna sound like Elvis. It's impossible. No pun intended. But uh you've got to try at least to get the tone, whether that be 70s, 60s, 50s, whatever. You've got to
mhm.
try and get the tone. And the third one, which is just a very nerdy one on my behalf, but the stage setup has got to be authentic.
Oh, good point.
Because you don't want to go to a show where people are using FM58s and they're using, like Fender Esquires and Fender Rhodes pianos or whatever. You want that, like you said, that experience, what it would be like to go see Elvis. So, you'd expect the James to have a pink paisley telly. You'd expect the Ronnie to have the double bass drum Blue Ludwig kit. You'd
Mm,
expect the John to have a red Gibson ES335 if it's 72, or if it's 70, a Sunburst ES335, because it adds to the visual component, and it
yes.
and and, and it shows people, all right, this guy's actually done his homework in terms of like the stage setup and how well it's had it. So yeah, I'd say those three
Yeah.
is
No,
what
that's a
makes a
good.
good job.
No, that's a good point, when you say about that, because sometimes some of these guys will have, backup singers that doesn't really have. I mean, listen,
That's
nobody's gonna sound like the Sweet Inspirations, and I get that, but sometimes these backup and it affects them a little bit too. So yeah, so that's a good one, Dylan. I didn't even think about that. So okay, let's start. Dylan, what
yeah.
do we have at number five for you?
All right, my number five, and it's so weird because this gentleman has got a connection to another gentleman who has got a channel called the EAP Society.
Yes.
The gent being Jamie Allen Kelly, but it's not Jamie Allen Kelly who is my number five. So sorry, Jamie, I do love you. So he was Jamie's predecessor, and he originated the role of Elvis, and he started in the role of Elvis Story, the Elvis Story,
Okay.
and it is Martin Fontaine.
Okay.
He is
I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever seen it. Okay.
he is absolutely fantastic.
All right.
The vocals could do with a little bit of work, but what makes it is the visual component.
Got
He, the minute he puts on the makeup, it's like, wait, like is this Elvis from like 72 or something? It's like it's literally mind-boggling because he's got the TTB band set up, he's got the orchestra, he's got the singers, he's even got the gold curtain behind him.
it. Mm,
He does like the whole thing,
wow.
and
What's his
like
name again, Dylan?
uh uh Martin Fontaine.
Fontaine. Okay. I've heard the name. I don't think I've actually seen stuff. I might have to go check him out.
He, yeah, people often go away from the show and be like, I think I feel seeing Elvis perform live because like it is that
Wow.
close.
Really?
And
Wow.
actually, Priscilla and Lisa Marie, um, Martin was at the Westgate, which was formerly the International, which was formerly the Hilton,
That's right.
and Martin was doing like I guess like a engagement, I guess, like a
Hmm.
mini engagement, and Lisa and Priscilla came to the show, and at the end, Lisa said it was quite spooky at times because it was just like looking at me dad.
Wow.
So if that doesn't tell you the kind of levels that he's reaching, then I don't know what does. Because if you've got Elvis's daughter saying that you spook her out, I I think you're heading on the right direction.
Yeah,
If
I
you
think you're
ask me.
doing a good job. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Like I said, I've heard the name, but I don't think I've actually seen stuff that he's done. There's stuff on YouTube with him,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna go check him out right after this show, so I can see that. Yeah. I have not seen him, so I'm looking for that. He does all 70 stuff. Is that what he
Yeah.
does?
Hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no, well, no, the Elvis story, which is what it started out in, did
Right.
the whole
Yes.
shebang. So like 50s.
Like Jamie did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
Okay.
well, Jamie did the exact same show.
Right. Right.
So
That's
it was
that's where I remember
like,
from. Yeah.
yeah, so 50s, and then I believe it went to movies, and then the 6 Day special, and then 70s.
Interesting. All
And
right.
but Martin then went on a show on his own called The Elvis Experience, which was mostly Vegas 72.
Okay.
So he was
Gotcha.
so he was wearing like the eyelet and the blue nail and the red
That's awesome.
pinwheel and like the Adonis and all these 72 suits. And yeah, that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, those things never came to the UK, so I didn't get a chance to see it, which I really would have liked to, because from the YouTube stuff, it's fantastic.
I have to check that out. That sounds interesting. So my number five, speaking of the UK, is someone from the UK, and that is Chris Connor.
Okay.
I really enjoy Chris. He's one of the first ones I actually discovered on YouTube. There was a video that he did. I can't remember, this is like 10 years ago. He was in Memphis and he did a
Hmm.
version. I just saw Chris Connor, I Got a Feeling in My Body. And he did a version of I Got a Feeling in My Body. I'm like, whoa, this guy is fantastic. He
Hmm.
did great moves. The crowd was into it. They gave him a standing ovation after he did that. And then another video came out. He did Love in Arms.
Yeah.
So, which was fantastic. So he does all 70 stuff. He's done some 68 and 69 stuff. He hasn't gone
Yeah.
before that. But he has shows out in the UK that sell out almost every night.
Yeah. He
Uh,
does.
yeah, if you guys know Sean Clush, Sean, who's not my top five, but is very good. He reminds me kind of like a UK version of Sean Clush, but I like Chris a little better
Yeah,
personally. And you mentioned about 72. I think there's a DVD on his website where he does the entire Madison Square Garden show, which I
yeah,
would love to get. And I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it's fantastic. He does a great job with it. I know Jerry Schilling and Esposito have come out and said like that's the most they've seen of Chris that looks and sounds like Elvis that they've ever seen from an ETA.
yeah,
The only reason he's not higher from me, and this is not a knock, it's just sometimes he gets not that, I don't know if he gets lost, but sometimes he changes the lyrics around a little bit too much for my taste.
yeah,
But other than that, he is fantastic. I implore you guys to check him out. He does mostly 70s stuff now.
yeah,
But to me, when he does 71, 72, 73, that's when he's at his best. I like Chris a lot.
yeah. Chris, I've seen Chris in person.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He's, as you said, 71, 72, 73.
Hmm.
That era is just like fantastic. Like
Yeah.
when he starts breaking out into like My Boy and like Trilogy and all these songs, it's like, okay, like this could almost be as if it's Elvis singing.
Right.
And he is the only Elvis tribute artist that I know of that's played the London Palladium, by the way.
Yes, that's correct. You're right.
And he got a standing O at the end of the. Actually, no. Sorry, it's a funny, not funny story, but a story that his wife tells that when he came out, like she could literally feel like the floor like vibrating from the
Wow.
applause that he got. And this is like just before, and like this is like not even when he's singing, like this is like when he walked out.
Mm.
So yeah, that's a great achievement, I think. Like
Yeah.
for
And
anybody.
right. And you mentioned about, what goes into a good ETA about presentation. His presentation on those shows are fantastic.
Yeah,
They really are.
yeah. The
It looks like it
production
should.
value is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like it should be in a big building. I mean, it looks like it should be like at the O2 Arena or Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden. He's got that kind of presence about him, which I like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
all
like
right.
this.
Yeah, number four. What do you got?
Okay. Now, for me, Tay fans, I might get a bit of flack because he's very revered in the ETA world, and rightly so because he's fantastic. But he's my number four, and it's Dean C. Dean for like 68. It's
Mm,
just like it's almost uncanny.
it really is.
Like especially when he does "If I Can Dream" at the end,
Hmm.
it's
Yep.
almost like it gives you goosebumps because it's like. But the reason that he's not higher is because I think his 70s lets him down slightly.
I think it's more I think it's more the look than the voice. Me personally, I
Well,
just think
for
I
me,
don't think he has to look down just yet.
yeah, well, for me, it's the presentation that lets him down
Okay.
because, and again, this is just personal preference.
Yeah, of course.
He does have the RE15 microphone, but he doesn't have the windshield on it,
Mm,
which, as you know, in 72, he did have the windshield on. So it's just a case of get a windshield, man. You know what I mean? Just like get a windshield, put it on, and you'll be fine. So it just kind of lets it down for
mm,
me a wee bit, just because like I want the full experience. Like I want the microphone to be accurate. I want the guitar to be accurate. I want everything to be accurate when possible.
right.
But for me, it doesn't. His 70s is still good,
Hmm.
but not as good as his 50s and movies in 68. I think
Agree.
that's
I
where
agree with
he
that.
thrives.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I'll have more to say later on about Dean. I don't want to take up too much 'cause he's on my list. I won't tell you exactly where. But I will say this, you're right about that. But on a positive side, like you said, his 68, 69 stuff, and to be honest with you, earlier on, if you watch, there's a he did some sun sessions too, which I thought was really
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
And this is years ago, so he's probably what, early 40s, I would say right now.
Yeah.
So he probably can't do that anymore. But if you go back 10, 15 years ago, and he did some stuff actually in Sun Studio. There's some video out there where he does some stuff at Sun, which is fantastic. So even his 50 stuff when he was younger is very good as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
I think that early part is where Dean really, really thrives
yes,
for me.
agreed. Yeah, I agree. All right, so my number four, you talk about getting flack. I hope I don't get flack for this, especially from Leslie. My four is Emilio Santoro, and
Okay,
now the reason he's number four is because I have not seen enough of him. I want to see more,
okay.
and plus, I think out of everybody on my list, I think he's got the highest ceiling, because he's
Yeah.
so young. Because he's so young, his version, and you're the one that turned me on to this, Dylan. His
Oh,
version of
did you
Blue
watch it?
Moon, like five times, of Blue Moon is just
It's
haunting.
uncanny.
Oh my God, it is so great.
Yeah,
And then there's a YouTube channel called SQ Sand. I think her
yeah.
name is I think her name is
Susie.
Susie. Susie, yes. She just came out a couple weeks ago where he was in Memphis and did Good Rockin' Tonight and Baby Let's Play House. It is so good. It
Yeah,
is so fantastic. His 50 stuff, and that's what I like about Emilio is that yes, he's young, but when you think of ETAs, you think of 70s, obviously.
of course.
But, you don't see a lot of guys who do the 50s.
Yeah,
So when someone
it's
else comes
hard.
out, it's very hard. Yeah. So there's one other guy well, there's two that are not on my list that I like who have done 50 stuff. One is Riley Jenkins, who I
Yeah,
like. And the other one, and this is years ago, was Cody Ray Slaughter, who did some good 50 stuff too.
yeah,
But to me, Emilio takes the cake, from what I've seen so far. And like I said, the only reason he's not more up to the top is because I've only seen like maybe a handful of videos yet because I'm still new
mhm.
to the experience of Emilio. Um, but everything that he's entered, he's won like on his first shot.
Yeah.
He's now
He
the ETA from
ultimate.
Memphis now. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. When he didn't win it last year, I was like, well. First of all, it caused an uproar because people were like, "Oh my God, Emilio didn't win," and I was like, "No, it's all right. Give it another year. Don't worry. He'll be
yep,
in it again next year."
yeah,
And if the competition is really, really good, he'll storm it. And he did.
yeah, yeah.
When
But
he when he walked out and I heard the first like little notes of Blue Moon, I'm like, that is brave. Because Blue Moon is a song that you wouldn't necessarily think that would be a finals song.
right,
You'd think something like Jailhouse Rock or Hound
sure,
Dog or something like that. But it is like it's literally uncanny
it
how
really
much
is.
it sounds like the real thing. It's
Yeah, and
crazy
listen,
good.
and girls, if you he's a good looking guy. I mean,
Oh, very much so.
yeah, he's a good looking man. So, but outside of that, Dylan, I've read everywhere where every time he entered a contest for the first time, most of the 99% of the time he wins
It,
it.
it,
That's how good he is.
yeah,
So yeah, so like I said, I am so looking forward to the future of this kid. Um, I can't wait to see what because I want I've seen him do 60s and some 70s stuff, and I think his voice is not mature enough yet to hit that 70s stuff yet. But I can't wait till he grows older and starts doing 60s. And I've seen him do 60s stuff, and it's great. Like his version of Fame and Fortune is fantastic as
that
well.
that's the one that turned me on. I was like,
Oh, was it? Okay.
no, no, because literally, like, I think I put up a comment and I was like, this kid's miming, yeah, it, and it wasn't. It was pure live, and I was like, wait, he's not miming. Like this is the real.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
but
just my
yeah,
and
yeah, but I can't wait till his voice matures and we start seeing him do. I can't wait in a few years till he starts doing the 68 comeback special and some of the mid 60s
well,
stuff. I can't wait.
actually, funny you say that. He already has started to do
I'm
68.
sure he has, but I want to see I want to see when his voice starts maturing a little bit and then
Yeah.
he really nails it because I can't wait to follow this kid and see what
Hmm.
he does next because what he, like you said, what he did over this past year in Memphis was fantastic. And that's, like I said, listen, 4 is high. I mean, of all the ETAs, he's number 4. But I think if you gave me this list in a couple of years, I think he'll be more to the top.
Yeah.
So, all right, number 3. What we
All right,
got? We're
num
almost there.
all right. Well, this is kind of linked to you in a way because he is a Louisiana native, and I know that you saw Elvis in, was it in Baton Rouge? Was it that you saw
Yeah,
him?
Baton Rouge 74 and 76. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he is a Baton Rouge boy, I believe. His 1970, that's the way it is just mind bending stuff, and it is Jay to play. His version of Bridge Over Troubled Water
Very
is
good.
it's incredible. What I love about Jay is he's like me. He will not stop until everything about his act is accurate. And I'm the same.
Right.
I listen, I drive myself absolutely crazy trying to like get all like the little like mannerisms and stuff.
Hmm.
And Jay's the same. Because he did an interview where he said, I will not do anything past Aloha. And
Really.
yeah, and the interviewer said why. And he said, well, Elvis's voice was completely different
Mm,
past Aloha.
right.
My voice is, you know, suited more to the 69 to 73 rather than 74 to 77.
Hmm.
But his Aloha is fantastic as well.
I've not seen his low. I've seen his early 70s stuff, and you're right about Bridge Over Troubled Water. He does a very good version of that. And his 68 comeback special is excellent too. I've
Yeah,
seen some of that too. And it's funny, we talked about, looking like Elvis. If you saw him in the streets, you would not
you
recognize
would
him.
not. Yeah,
Right? Am I right?
yeah,
He's
oh
got
yeah,
blonde, he's got blonde hair,
yeah,
right?
blonde hair. Yeah,
Yeah, and he looks nothing like when he's made up as Elvis. It was shocking when I saw the real picture of Jay Dupuis.
yeah. It's the same with my number 5. It's the same with Martin Fontaine.
Oh, is it
He's
really? Okay.
ginger. He's he's got short ginger hair,
Oh, does he really?
and
Okay.
it's like, bro, you do not look anything like Elvis. Who the hell told you that you look like Elvis? Like
I
what the hell?
know. But it's amazing how they can transform
But then like when the
themselves.
makeup goes on, it's like, oh
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Jay's excellent. He's not my top 5, but he's excellent. I just don't think I've seen enough of him. But like I said, the stuff I have seen has been really good. So that's a solid number 3. I gotta go check him out a little bit more. My number 3 is someone we are both familiar with. That's
okay,
because we talked to him, and that's Jimmy Holmes.
yeah,
I was not familiar with Jimmy until a year ago when I saw him do My Boy. And that version of My Boy to me is the best version I've heard by an ETA.
yeah,
The way he belts out those lyrics at the end is just fantastic. And what gets to me and why he's this high is that I think he's only 24 years old.
yeah.
He's not much older than
Than me,
Emilio.
he's almost older than me because I'm 21 now.
Right. And yet he pulls off the 70s fantastic. And his
Yeah,
voice lends itself to it that he mentioned that on the show that we did with him that his favorite album was from Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee.
yeah,
And if you go out and look at it, he does an amazing version of I'll Never Fall in Love Again,
and
a
her,
great and her and also Solitaire.
yeah.
So he is fantastic.
He is.
I love Jimmy. He
Have you seen
really
him
did.
do Unchained when he played the
Yes,
piano?
yeah, absolutely.
It's fantastic.
And so this is kind of like I'm biased when it comes to this because we had him on, and I thought he was great. He was so friendly. Even just talking to him on the emails, he was great. So
Yeah,
that's why he's got a special place in my heart. He'll always be there for me. But he is, like I said, I've never seen anybody that young pull off the '70s so great like he did.
yeah, uh, yeah. And I'm sorry to say this, Jimmy is watching. I'm sorry, but you're not in my top 5, man. I'm sorry.
I'm sure
I'm
he'll be
sorry.
okay with it. I'm sure he'll be okay with it. There's many out there, but like I said, I had to. I just think he's fantastic, and I think he's another guy who's, I don't think. I don't think he has the ceiling like Emilio, but there's still
But
there's
he's
still
getting
ways.
there for
He's getting
sure.
there. He's still ways to grow with him, man. And there's so much he can do,
Yeah.
70s wise. And I just I love what Jimmy does.
I
All right.
think give him like 2 or 3 years, and he'll
Yes.
he'll be in Memphis again for sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it.
absolutely. Yeah, well, he did put out a post. I don't know if you saw it. He was very happy for Emilio, but I think he said he was done with the
With the
ETA
ultimate.
with Memphis. He said it took a really big toll on his
Yeah.
relationships and on him, and that he wanted to really just go out there and just have fun and have the
Mm,
fans enjoy it. So, which I get. I'm
yeah, of
sure
course.
a lot of those guys get obsessed with that Memphis one, and sometimes it gets to them.
Yeah, yeah,
In fact, Chris Connor even said the same thing. I think he only did the Memphis thing once,
yeah,
and then he said he just couldn't handle it anymore. So yeah, Jimmy, if you're out there, if you're listening, just have fun, dude, and because
yeah.
we'll be looking out for you. So,
We
all
will.
right, we're getting close. Who's your runner
Yeah.
up? Who's your number two?
All right, runner up is someone who you already mentioned. That's why my heart sank a little bit, and and it is Emilio. His What I love about Emilio is his attention to detail
Hmm.
when it comes to the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
Because the outfits that he wears, I don't I don't know where he gets half of this stuff from. Because that white jacket that he wore when he sang Blue Moon,
yeah.
he so Elvis wore that in Memphis in 1961, I believe.
Oh, the concert that he did.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was the outfit that Emilio had on.
Interesting. Okay.
And I was like going, I didn't even know that people like Pro Elvis jumpsuits and AGM and being carrying prizes. I didn't even know that they sold that outfit because it's not one that you see.
Right.
So I was very impressed that he decided to go on the obscure side of it.
Yeah.
But Emilio is fantastic. His fame and fortune, it's literally note for note how Elvis did it.
Yeah. No, it's tremendous. It really is great. Yeah, I love how he's loved Elvis since he was 4. I've loved Elvis since I was 3. He became an ET artist, I think, at the age of 15. And he said he was
14, I think.
Yeah, and he said he was working local pubs and stuff at the age of
Yeah,
14 and 15 doing stuff. He like you said, I've talked a lot about him. Like I said, the only reason he was number 4 because I just think his ceiling is he's got so much potential. I can't wait to see what's next with him. Um, and having him at number 2, I got no qualms about that, Dylan, because like I said, I think if you gave me this list, even maybe even next year, I think he's gonna be on that number 2, number 1 list
yeah,
because his stardom is going to skyrocket,
yeah,
especially after winning Memphis this year.
yeah. Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, he's great. I hope we can get him on one of our shows soon. So
Hopefully, hopefully.
I would love to talk to him. My number 2 is a guy you mentioned as well, and that's Dean Z. He's my
Okay.
number 2. The reason I have him this high, Dylan, is because now, there's a couple of reasons. One, I believe in my heart of hearts that as far as musical talent, I think he's the most talented out of the 5 I have on my list.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
he
yeah.
could he could play guitar, he could play drums, he could play piano.
Yeah.
He does a great Buddy Holly impression.
Hmm.
He does I think he
I
does
think
other
it's like Michael Jackson. I think
yes,
he did one time.
yeah, I think he did Michael Jackson one time. I think he is so talented. He just emceed the Memphis Tribute Artist competition.
Yeah.
I think he was also involved in the Elvis movie. He mentioned that he was like almost like a consultant with
Yeah.
that movie. I just think he's the most talented. I'm not saying he's the best ETA artist because I'll be coming up. But I think he's the most talented. And I wanted you mentioned 68 and 68 comeback special is just unbelievable. But what really turned me on to Dean Z was and this is on the channel again, SQ Sand, her name is Susie.
Yeah.
He does a recreation of the American Sound Studio.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it is breathtaking. He looks like him.
He
He's
sounds
even wear
like him.
he's even wearing the outfit like
Yep.
that he wore that day. The long black limousine, the wearing that love don't look. Any of those songs that he did,
Kentucky
it
Rain, Suspicious
oh
Mind.
my God, it's tremendous. I implore you guys to go seek that out. You're right, his 70s stuff is a little not as maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Not as perfect as you maybe you want it to be.
Yeah.
Um, but his voice is there for me. I think it's fine, but you're right. It's not like it should be where it is in 68 and 69. But
Yeah.
that's sick. That's American sound presentation that he did was maybe one of the best ones I've ever seen, and that's why he's this high. I just think he's so talented.
Me
Like
too.
yeah, and he can. What I like about him, he can come out not dressed as Elvis, and he can come out and just sing,
Yeah.
and put on a great show.
Mm.
I don't know if listen, maybe some of these guys can do that as well. I'm sure they can, but he can go out there and sing other not non-Elvis songs or some Elvis songs just as Dean Z and put on
Yeah.
a fantastic performance. So that's why he's my number
Mhm.
two.
And see, if it wasn't for the 70s, he would
Yeah,
be higher as well for me.
yeah.
But it was just that 70s that kind of made him a little low. But that doesn't mean I don't like him.
Oh, of
I really
course.
do like him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's
It's just that
tremendous.
like I think he just needs to like not what's the word? Not improve, but I think he just needs to maybe like just focus on getting the presentation right for the 70s
Right.
because his voice is certainly there.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
it's just a visual side of it. Once he gets the visual side down for 70s, it'll be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why he's my number two. All right, Dylan. I have a feeling we both have the same number ones.
Yep.
So, but let's start with you. What's your number one, buddy?
All right. So if you saw Elvis in the last couple of years
Yeah.
in his career, then and then you went to see this particular gentleman,
Yeah.
you will swear blind that you have just seen Elvis in
Yep.
74 to 77. I am talking about the man himself, the one and the only Bill Cherry.
Yep.
But when it comes to those last few years, there is no one better. There is
Agreed.
actually no one better.
Agreed.
He wears he wears the totem pole, which is an
He
immediate win
does.
in my book because it's my favorite suit. But yeah, no, but seriously, like when he starts doing like Way Down and Hurt and Moody Blue and all these songs, it's it's just it's no see even now I can't begin to tell you what it's like to see him do
Yeah.
those songs. It's just unbelievable.
It really is. He's as you know, he's my number one as well.
Yep,
He, you know, what it reminds me of. It reminds me of this was what Elvis maybe would have been like if he had continued to live. Like
yeah,
this is like, if to me, like it's Elvis 1978, nineteen
78.
seventy nine.
Yeah,
Because you're so right. And what I like about Bill too is like he'll venture out and do. He just won't do My Way and Unchained Melody, which is great on its own. But he'll go out and do you asked me to, or find out
yeah,
what's happening, and
mhm,
and just a little bit. He'll go out and do some of those stack stuff or some of the jungle room
yeah,
session stuff, and he is unbelievable. He looks just like him. He sounds just like him. He's from Arkansas, so even when he talks, he sounds like him.
yeah.
And he even said, he goes, "No, this I'm not putting on an impression. This is just the way
It's
I
it was.
speak." Yeah,
Yeah,
because like he said, I'm from Arkansas, so this is just the way I speak. And I mentioned with Dean Z about the presentation of American Sound. Well, there's another one that Bill Cherry does. There's actually two. There's one he does on the Jungle Room sessions, which is fantastic,
yeah.
where he actually comes out in the
In the tracksuit.
tracksuit. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's unbelievable with the glasses,
glasses and
and
the walking stick.
you
And
swear it's Elvis. You swear it's
yeah,
Elvis when he does that.
mm-hmm.
And it gives you like you're in the studio feel of it
Well,
too,
wait, yeah,
and there's another one that he did a couple years even before that where he does some of the Nashville sessions
yeah,
of 71, which is fantastic.
yeah. And he
uh
brings out Norbert Putnam
yes,
for,
he does. Right, that's right.
for it's so funny because Norbert goes, listen, I can only do a few bars of Paggio. And Bill
Yeah.
goes, listen, me too. That's not a song that I don't do a lot. So listen,
Yeah.
you just do as much as you can do, and I'll do as much as I can do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
So and I think it was is his name Tom what's his
Tom
name?
Brown,
Tom Brown said that when he was a judge when he did the Memphis one, and he said when Bill Cherry came out, he's like I'm giving up. He goes because nobody can beat this. He goes this is the best ETA I've ever seen in my life, and he
yeah,
quit. He said this is the last time I'm judging because nobody can be better than him.
yeah.
Um, and then
What really does it is when he does his 77 presentations.
yes,
When
yes,
it
and
comes out
where
in the sundial,
the sundial, yes, he
you
does.
would
Yep.
swear blind that you was watching a CBS special.
Yes, very much
Because
so.
literally, he does it move for move, note for note. Like, even, you know what's so funny? Even like the little gags in
Yes,
between,
yes, he does. Yes.
it's just
Great point,
like,
Dylan.
how did you learn this stuff? Like, you'd have had to have sat in front of like the telly for like hours and hours and hours and hours just to like pick up every little thing that Bill does. But yeah, Bill's the man. Bill
Yeah,
is the man when it comes to
yeah, you mentioned detail, and his details are just right on point. And then, you want to go more recent. Again, that channel I was talking about is SQ Sam. He does songs from the '74 Memphis concert, and he's wearing the same exact suit that he
yeah,
wore in that concert, and he puts on a great performance. His performance of that medley is just fantastic.
yeah.
So you got I implore you.
Especially when he's got a good band behind him.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
I think, and that's another component I forgot to mention. You, you need to have a band that knows what they're doing.
Sure,
Because,
absolutely.
because people think, oh, Jailhouse Rock, Bish, Bash, Bosh, easy as you like. It's not. It's,
No.
listen, as a drummer, I have spent many hard hours trying to perfect the open fill on CT Rider. And I've
Hmm.
been playing drums for 13 years now. I still can't do it. Only Ronnie can do it.
Right, right.
And
Yeah,
Larry and all these people.
yeah, I'm sure it's tough for these guys to find the right band to gel with. So, but yeah, so yeah, we agree, Dylan. I think Bill's the best. I still think he's the best out there. I know he's getting a little older, but to me, he still puts on a great show.
Yeah.
I would love to see him just once live. I just think that experience would be great. I just think he's fantastic. So yeah, so my top five. We got your top five. So, there are some others that you want to mention that didn't make you top five,
Yeah.
that you talked about?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to give a nod to the original generation of tribute artists.
Okay.
So, Johnny Hara is one of them.
Okay, I know
Now,
Johnny. Yep.
now Johnny is sadly no longer with us. He
Right.
passed away like 10 years ago, I think. And if you've not heard Johnny Hara, you've definitely seen him
Mm.
for sure, because he was the Elvis in This Is Elvis.
That's right. Yes.
If you see the bit where he's going up the stairs and like they recreate the whole passing away of
Hmm.
Elvis, that's Johnny that's doing all that stuff.
Right.
So even if you don't know the name, then you definitely have seen
Hmm.
Jamie, of course.
Yeah,
Jamie
I was
did,
gonna mention Jamie. Yeah,
yeah,
Jamie's the only person. I think he set a record where he sang every single song that Elvis ever did
yeah.
in one night,
Uh, so he
which is
must have been
fantastic.
there for
So
like 12 hours.
he sang El Toro. So what's better than
I mean,
that?
oh my God, don't use that. I've had, I've got enough with Brent on my hands, and now you as well.
I the reason listen, first of all, Jamie's EAP Society is a must watch if you're an Elvis
Yeah.
fan. The reason he's
Hmm.
not in my top five, I just haven't seen enough of him. Like there's only clips here and there, but I have never really seen him do a real. Like I said, there's clips of that Elvis story, but it's like a
Yeah.
minute. It's like a minute and a half. So I really haven't seen a full him doing a full song. So I would love to see what he did, years ago. But
But yeah, so Jamie's one for sure. But Jamie had a pretty hard job because he had to follow. Martin.
You mentioned that, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, like following him isn't easy to do.
No,
I
right.
also think Chris Connor, who was in your list, is fantastic. Jimmy as well.
Mhm.
But there's a guy, but there's a guy who he he's not English or American. He's actually Portuguese, um Brazilian, and he's called D White.
Oh yeah, D-Light's fantastic. I really
Yeah,
like
but
him. Yeah,
like
that's a good one, Dylan. Yeah,
he he did a concert where he did like Elvis in 1970, and he came out in a concha, and his physique, like he's ripped, like
yeah,
he's
he is
got
ripped.
like
Yeah,
muscles here, and like his pecs are like huge, and it's just like yeah,
yeah,
that's the Vegas Elvis that everyone needs to that everyone needs to go and check out, and not the image that they have of him, later on when he's kind of overweight and he's kind of like
right.
slowing down a bit. They need to go see that early, like 69 to 72 Vegas was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
I
a
think
great
that's the Vegas
that's
that I need to
right. No, that's a good one. I forgot about D-Light. D-Light's a good one. Like, and he even said that. I think he mentioned in an interview. He learned English through Elvis
prove for
songs.
Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah, through Elvis, which was fantastic. Yeah, he's really good. But again, a guy if you see out in the you wouldn't think he's Elvis, because, but he's so ripped and he's got these tats all over him,
Yeah.
and so but he covers it
And you
well.
have
He
to
does
get
it.
covered,
Yeah,
like when he's
yes.
doing the
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, and I mentioned a couple of mine. I think Riley Jenkins is really good. He does a good 50s Elvis. I've not seen Chloe Ray Slaughter in a long time. He was actually on the David Letterman show,
yeah. And Ben
and did a
Portsmouth
great.
was as
Ben
well.
Portsmouth was, yeah. But Cody did a great version of Jailhouse Rock on that show. He does a good. I forget what year it was. This is a few years ago. He did a great Tupelo
Yeah.
reenactment of the Tupelo show, where
Yeah.
even the sound sounded
I know Tinny and
yeah, little Tenny, yeah, which was really good.
yeah.
Uh,
I know Cody's not been doing so well health wise
oh, is that true?
lately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I think like he was telling me that it was like his eye, I think, was giving him a
Oh,
bit of trouble.
really? Oh, I'm
So I
sorry to
think
hear that.
maybe that's why he's not been he's not been doing and
Uh,
and like I don't mean to laugh, but there's this one video where uh it's Dean Z that's emceeing it, and he goes, "All right, we've got a surprise guest. Cody is here tonight, right?" He gets a huge cheer because the previous night he was in a skit with Dean Z and Pat Dunn where he was playing like a fangirl,
oh,
and
really? What? Okay.
yeah, and he got into the part that that he fell, and he completely like shredded his legs to pieces.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and it was pretty bad. So anyway, the next night, Dean Z does it. Well, I don't. He's done it every year now since a few years ago. He does this thing called Elvis Unplugged, where he
Hmm.
brings out tribute artists and they do like
Yes.
a couple of songs and like they do it acoustically. And Dean goes, "All right, folks, is Cody here?" And all the way from the behind the stage, like, "Yeah, I'm here." And they're like, "What? Where is he?" And then he sees Cody in the wheelchair. He's like, oh no, this is bad." And he goes, "Hang on, wait a second." And then he like lifts like the wheelchair like onto the stage, and it's like, and and he does a fantastic pocket full of rainbows in that
Yeah,
performance.
yeah, he does.
And but yeah, but talk about your like dedication to the craft. Like when you've got like a shattered leg and like you're in a wheelchair, he's still out there, doing his thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that he's going through some health issues, because I really like him. He did some good stuff.
It
And
also like reminds me of me a bit because I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. I know what
yeah.
that feels like.
Yeah, that feels
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm sure you
yeah.
do. Yeah. So,
Being on
and
stage in a wheelchair, yeah. I
yeah.
know what that is.
And one more guy I want to mention too that wasn't on both of our lists, and I saw him, guy, I want to say in 12 years ago, and he's still doing stuff now. And I thought he was really good the night we saw him. It was a Legends in Concert one, and I liked him a lot. He did That's the Way It Is special, and that's Leo Days. Leo Days is a really
Wait,
good.
yeah.
He's a really good tribute artist as well. So I want to shout him out as well.
Yeah, Leo's great. He does a Michael Jackson tribute as well,
Yes, he
and
does. Yeah.
he's great as well.
Yeah, very
And
talented,
Sean
very
Clutch,
talented.
I wanted to give Sean a little nod because
Yeah, Sean too. I actually seen Sean live, and Sean put on a very good performance
he's
during his
actually
song.
the very first Ultimate Elvis tribute artist champion. He won the very
Is he?
first one.
Oh, really?
hmm
Oh,
In like
wow. Okay.
2007, I think.
Yeah, I saw him right before COVID in 2019 here in Long Island. He was there with Ryan Pelton.
Yeah.
Ryan was fine, but Sean was really good, so he put on a good performance. So that's our top five. What's your top five? Dylan, thanks so much. I appreciate your time, buddy.
Thank you. And yeah, it's hopefully I've lived up to the expectation of being the first guest on season 2. And yeah.
Yes. All right. Thanks so much, guys. And remember, don't worry, be happy. Take care, guys.